Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 85th Rome Total War Brotherhood battle that I've put onto YouTube. This is a usual 31k rules game. That's no arty, no Ellis, 3 berserkers max, 2 horse archers max, and 6 cavalry max. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Uther, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. RTW player Thor, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. And we have Brotherhood member TR. He's called himself Minor Walker TR in this game, but he's actually Brotherhood member TR, and he has bought the Rome SBQR faction. And the final member of the team is myself, Spartan Commander, who has also bought the Rome SBQR faction. So there's our team there, full of experience, lots of good players and some really great armies. But you wait till you see the other team. I think this will be a great battle for you to watch. And here is that other team. We have Brotherhood member Conan, the co-founder of the Brotherhood, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. We have Clansman Titans Hades, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. So that's Titans Hades there. And then we have Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. And Brotherhood member Racer X, who has also bought the Rome Julii faction. So there's the other team, full of really great players, lots of experience, and some really good armies there. I think this should be, like I said earlier, a great battle for you to watch. Lots of skill, attacks and defense being shown in this one. At this early stage of the battle, I thought you might like to have a look at Conan's army. As you can see here, he's bought a cavalry general, and that's what I call old school. I believe Uther has also bought a cav general as well. 7, 8, 9 years ago we always used to bring cavalry generals, but these days most people bring infantry generals. But it's nice to see some old school cav generals on the battlefield these days. Also, if you notice that Conan has also bought 4 archer units, and that's quite unusual for a 31k battlefield. You know, maybe 2 or 3 maybe, but 4 is unusual. Be interesting to see how those archers do. As you can see, he's bought 4 cavalry as well. An interesting army. And here's something interesting for new players for Rome Total War to see. If you notice that the armoured Roman general there has just taken lots of arrow fire onto that unit there, and you notice that it doesn't suffer any casualties. That's because the defence on the cavalry Roman generals is so high that they can just stand there all day and take archer fire and not lose any men from that unit. So that might be interesting for new players of the game to notice that. If ever any of you want to try the old school cavalry general, they're pretty resilient, they're fast, and they're quite hard hitting too. So that might be something for you new players to maybe have a go with sometime. As you can see now, we're kind of entering the archer war of the part of the battle at the moment. If you notice that TR has bought his SBQR archers out to take on Conan's archers there. And there's a close-up of the archers firing there. But my guess is, as Conan's got 4 units of archers, they probably will win this one. As you can see, Titan Hades is trying to bring some of his cavalry units over to take out some of our SBQR archers there. But if you notice Uther's cavalry general there, because it's so fast and such a strong unit there, he can kind of outpace the heavy Roman cavalry there. It moves a lot faster than the heavy cavalry, and as you can see there, he's basically chased them off. And of course, the Roman cavalry will suffer damage from archers as well. So as that Roman cavalry was retreating, I would think they'd be being hit by our archer fire as well on them. Here's a panoramic view of the battle field at the moment. As you can see, all the armies are basically squaring off against each other, as this is still a very early stage of the battle. At this stage of the battle, you can see that the Rome Julii army on our left here has turned inwards, facing out in a defensive position there. If you notice, there's a gap opened up here between our two allies. If you notice, there's a massive gap there that the Julii general is looking to possibly run troops in between. As you can see, that is a pretty massive gap there, and if he gets troops in between us, he could actually split our armies up there, but I'm not sure there. As you can see, our ally SBQR army there is being hit by Scipii cavalry and infantry, plus as you can see there's a massive enemy Julii cavalry hit going in as well. Our SBQR ally would do well to hold there. It looks like the enemy are going to try and break this army so that they can kind of punch a hole through our centre here. Our SBQR ally is holding quite well there with assistance from our other ally Uther there with the Brutii army. As you can see, it's quite a fierce aggressive battle there in the centre there. I just hope our SBQR ally will be able to hold there against that massive attack. I'm just going to pause the game there for us to take stock of the battle, and also to ask you, maybe new players of the game, ask you a question in a minute about what you would do with certain units. As you can see there, you've got the Julii, two Julii armies here on our left flank trying to hold us back, trying to buy their allies time to try and break our SBQR ally there. If you notice that Uther is there supporting extremely well with his cavalry and infantry there, but our SBQR ally is taking a hell of a pounding in the centre there, and I just hope he'll be able to hold. But here's the question I was going to ask. I think experienced players see this straight away, but new players, if you had my cavalry there, 6 units of cavalry, can you see where you would charge that in on the battlefield here? Is there any particular place that you would say you would charge that cavalry in? Maybe charge it into the enemy Julii cavalry there. Maybe charge it around the flank of the enemy. Where do you think you would charge that cavalry? As I say, experienced players see this probably straight away. Let's see where my cavalry is going to go. Okay, can you see the enemy Scipii infantry are fully engaged there, but they've got their back and flank kind of turned against my cavalry, so I'm going to try and charge my cavalry into the flank and rear of that fighting Scipii cavalry there. If you notice that TR is charging his cavalry in as well, so we've got a joint cavalry charge there going into the enemy Scipii infantry. Bang! Can you see how it hits? If you notice how it's starting to rout several units of that Scipii infantry there. Obviously our intention here was to rout as many as we could there, and that massive impact I was expecting to see more Scipii infantry kind of rout. So what I'm doing, I'm pressing on with my cavalry. I'm not pulling them back straight away, I'm pressing them on into the Scipii infantry, and now I'm going to pull my cavalry back. If you notice there, that little bit of a push there by my cavalry routed even more of those Scipii infantry there. Even though I was being hit by that Julii cavalry, I thought that the risk was worth it to try and rout some more of that Scipii infantry there. Meanwhile, over on our right, you can see that Uther's Brutii army there is already he's thinking of taking it around the flank and getting in behind the enemy Julii infantry there. As you can see, our SBQR ally there, Thor, is still taking a pounding from the enemy, even though we're trying to help him as much as we can. If you notice now, Uther's coming in with his cavalry. I'm charging my cavalry in as well. We're hoping to see a lot of the enemy Julii army starting to rout as we hit, and bang! As the cavalry goes in, can you see the Julii? A lot of the Julii units starting to rout there. If you notice, I'm coming round the well, it's our left flank, but the enemy's right flank there with my army. All I'm trying to do at the moment is hold Steve Longshanks' army there. I don't really want him to kind of be able to send reinforcements or anything like that. I just want him to see my army approaching him, and hopefully he's thinking to himself, oh, I better keep my army intact, because if he attacks, will I be able to hold? So that's why I've brought my army around there to face Steve there. As you can see, the main battle here is going on in the centre. As you can see, Uther is starting to move his infantry round the flank there, with a view probably to get in behind the enemy Julii forces there. Can you see I'm charging my cavalry in again there? And so is Uther. Straight into that Julii infantry again. Bang! Can you see some of the Julii infantry starting to rout with the impact of those cavalry charges? And if you remember when you've seen other battle videos of ours with your cavalry, you hit, smash, wait for all the units to be engaged so you get the full cavalry bonus, then you pull your cavalry back out. Don't leave them tangling with infantry, because if you leave them fighting with infantry, the cavalry will come off worse. Just use them for what they're really good for. And that's smash, hit, and pull back and hit again. As you can see now, a lot of the enemy Julii units are starting to rout. Basically, I think it's just Steve Longshank's army that is still intact at the moment. A lot of the enemy forces are routing there, but if you look at the overall battlefield, it's still quite touch and go over on that centre and left flank there. As I say, our SPQR ally in the middle there, Thor, he's held extremely well against those massive attacks. You know, he really almost saved the day there, because if he'd have caved in, they would have punched a massive hole through our centre, and things would not have looked very good for us there. So fair play to Thor for holding there. As you can see, Steve Longshank's army is still holding quite well there. Basically, I think his army is still intact. I think he might have lost his cavalry, but the bulk of his infantry, as you can see, is still intact there. So he's doing quite well. If you notice, I'm bringing my cavalry in here through the enemy Julii infantry, and what I'm aiming for is that general. Can you see the enemy general there? That's what I'm trying to hit for there. But also, my guess is that if my cavalry get behind Steve Longshank's infantry, bearing in mind that a lot of their units are engaged, it might start causing some of his units to rout. And if you notice, some of the Julii units are starting to rout now as my cavalry has come through, because they're already engaged. You see, the enemy infantry's morale would have dropped as it realised that there was enemy cavalry behind it. So that's why a lot of the Julii infantry have started to rout now.
Be praised! The enemy general is dead. His men know their doom approaches.
Here, if you see the last of, I think Steve Longshank's army is starting to rout now. But that was a pretty close battle there, I think, especially in the centre there. I was quite amazed that we managed to hold. As I said earlier, if they'd have managed to punch a hole through our centre there, I think this entire battle would have been completely different there.
This is no way for
you can see the dead on the battlefield here. That kind of bears testament to how tough this battle was. Masses of dead all piled on top of each other there. You can tell where the main fighting has taken place. The first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. There were some great attacking moves and some great defence as well. Really well played to the other team. I saw some really great moves going on there and some really great support. And really well played to the team I was in as well, especially to Thor, who held really well in the centre there. And as I said, if he'd have actually caved in there, the whole game could have been different. So once again, really well played to everybody in the game. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And this is Spartan Commander saying bye for now.